There we go. Hey everybody, it's JD. We're just here starting a little late, but no worries. Uh, we're
Everybody.
golden guys. I'm going to introduce everybody right now. You know us. We've got DS Comics.
What's up? Glad to be here.
Right? We got Knights of Old,
Hey guys, happy to be here.
and our Stel Getty of the night, Comic Books NYC.
Hey, what's up, guys? Thanks for having me. Thanks for having me on.
Thank
Comic
you.
Core 2 Tuesdays in a row. What more can I ask for? Fun.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, last week we had him on Stranger Things, talking about an original art. It was great. And then that's where I got the idea. Hey, so this is going to be a special episode, kind of not really special. It's just going to be. They're all good, if you ask me. We all have a good time. But this one we got a topic to do. We got an unboxing to do, and some of us were just having a pretty good conversation about some stuff. And if you didn't see Timely Tuesdays by Knights of Old, there's some stuff in there that we can bring up as well.
Oh, thanks.
So we're going to start off, I guess, anything crazy going on in your golden age searching right now?
Well, eBay is tempting me with the 10% off eBay bucks, so I started perusing a little bit, like what's on my watch list. Because it's been a minute for me since I bought a, I guess, quote unquote, big book. I've been waiting till I can get through like my move and stuff like that. But when eBay does those sales, it gets me to sink a little bit on my
pull you in.
Yeah. So I've been looking around. Haven't really pulled the trigger on anything, but
does this one have a limit on price?
I think it's I think the max is $100 of eBay bucks, 10%. So basically, if you buy a $1,000 item, you would be maxing the available eBay bucks that you can earn. I believe so. I believe that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's always $100 max. I bought it was like 2,000. It was $2,047, and I used that, and I was like, hell yeah, I get $200, and I only get 100.
Yeah.
I think that was the first time I ever maxed it out, really.
Well, now recently they charged me 10% tax, which really blows.
Really?
Yeah, if you buy a big book, oof.
We're getting taxed too? I haven't bought anything on eBay in a while.
I think it depends on your state.
Yeah, we're here. Yeah, Liz is not nodding. I haven't bought anything on eBay in a while. That's why, gosh to God, I've been doing a lot of CGC website more than that. But it's just the way I've been doing it.
Yeah, same here. I've been doing mainly like local shops and things like that in the past few months. And it's been a minute since I've really done
I'm interested now that
eBay damage.
10%. If I look down, I'm going to see how long is that good for? Till tomorrow?
I think it's through tomorrow at midnight Pacific, so like 3 a.m. Eastern on Thursday.
There's a few out there.
Yeah, it's a little bit of time.
Is there a good Golden Age selection in New York City for local shops?
Yeah, I mean, there's a decent selection. I mean, I wouldn't say that like it's like the Mecca or anything like that. Like you still have to like go to a show, I think, to really get the organization together of where there's just that much offered at once. Like Big Apple Comic Con was pretty. I basically held off on buying as much as I wanted to, or really anything. But I more so hung out with Golden Age collectors at Big Apple Comic Con, which was interesting, including one guy that I bought a book from without knowing, and I can tell the story. Yeah, I mean, it just depends on what you're looking for, I guess,
Well, you could always call up Vincent over at Metropolis, right, and get a private...
Yeah, well, I can't afford that right now.
That's fun. So, yeah, I didn't really... I picked up one elephant book, came... It was one of those emails I get, hey, this guy's got a book. It was still under $40, still only $45. 1948. Again, love the colors. It's a Sheena cover and an elephant. Like,
great.
Like I say, I know you guys. It's a shtick, but what are you gonna say? I mean, I love this stuff though.
Yeah, and I still got another one for you whenever you're ready.
Yep, yeah, you do. I'm real excited about that one. That's the one where Dr. Wertheim is the villain. Very
Yeah,
cool.
and I contacted CGC and had them change the keynote to add that.
Yeah, and did they do it?
Well, they added a note that says Willem named Dr. Wortham, but I wanted them to specifically say that Dr. Wortham parodied, and they disagreed that it was the Dr. Wortham. But I mean,
it's exactly who it was.
It looks like if you look at old photos, it looks like I mean, it's him. I mean, yeah, it's like 1948, 49. I mean, it's Wortham. I mean, it's just some random guy in a suit and glasses running around the jungle. I mean,
all the Marvel Atlas stuff during 1948 on several crime books that were out, like Crime Fighters and Lawbreakers Always Lose. There's letters in there to Dr. Wertheim the same time this was going.
Yeah.
And they have other characters where they call, be careful of W, whatever, and they kill him in like Spellbound and shit. It's great.
Yeah. You know, he was well known not long before, but before he published Seduction of the Innocent. That was the tail end of his crusade. That's what his crusade culminated in. But he was well known in the mid to late 40s among people in comics. It was this big controversy. It wasn't like all of a sudden 1954 there was controversy.
Right.
So, I mean, I'm sure that was him. They disagreed with me.
Speaking of Spellbound, that's like one of the books I happen to pull out of one of my boxes. Is an Atlas.
Very cool.
Spellbound number 16. So,
yeah.
That's
the
cool.
only one I have of that, I have 7 of that series, which is a cool skeleton chasing a skeleton kind of thing going on.
I don't have a ton of pre-code horror. I mean, but one of the books that I will be unboxing in the unboxing is a pre-code horror. So,
look at that. We're going to unbox it. I'm excited about that.
So Spellbound's a good one. I like Spellbound.
Yeah, I think actually that's one where that's the one that crosses everybody. I like Spellbound because of the Bill Everett art, like that one is.
Is that a Bill Everett cover?
Spellbound? He did most of the...
It's either Everett, Manili, or Heath.
Yeah, Heath
did a lot of the Spellbound covers.
I thought he did more Astonishing Tales back when he was doing that.
I mean, all 3 of them worked on all of them.
Yeah, Tales of the Unknown, too.
I mean, I even get them confused. There was one I had told somebody it was my favorite Bill Everett cover, and it turns out it's a Joe Manili cover. So
yeah,
now I have to find a new favorite Bill Everett cover. There's so much stuff, even if I'm into it, like even if you're really into it.
Yeah, I'm still learning sort of like besides Schomburg, who I do collect and I can recognize.
Right.
I'm not like when I can't necessarily purely identify cover by the artist in Golden Age like I can in perhaps Silver Age. I've been collecting Golden Age probably, half the amount of time or less than that I've been overall collecting comic books. So I'm still learning. You know what I mean?
Well, the easiest way to identify Russ Heath art is he uses a lot of times this invisible light source. There'll be a lot of uplighting and a lot of crazy shadows, but the light is coming from somewhere where there's obviously no light source. It's just an invented imaginary light source, like coming out of a grave or coming out of a wall, but there's no light there. And he just creates an imaginary light source just to cast shadows the way he likes. And he has these really like uplit, crazy shadows, and you'll see a lot of that in his work.
Yeah, because Bill Everett does that. Reminds me that's the one thing Marvel and those guys were doing. That's one of the things, like you said, about identifying artists. Schomburg is his own world, but
This is a famous Everett one.
Yeah,
Venus one. I didn't know you had that one.
I don't. This is a great Bill Everett book. Fire and Ice.
I was like, damn, that Venus one is to me is the best pre-code horror book around.
Fire and Water. But it's a great.
Yeah, that's Venus 19. I'm in the minority. I like 17 the best, but most people like 19. But
very cool. So yeah, one of the things I was going to say, if other than Schomburg and everything else, one of the things you can do is you'll go from, before you can get to artists, you'll recognize publishers by the artwork.
Yeah.
You start figuring out right away, oh, that's a Fiction House, or that's a Fox, or that's an Ajax, or that's a Farrell, or that's a EC, or, you'll do that first, or that's a Timely, or an Atlas, DC, whatever. A Fox Publishing, you'll figure out the difference, and then you'll find out like 6 or 7 artists did everything for them.
Yeah.
And then you'll find the differences between, a lot of them are identical of each other, because that was one of the, you don't mess with the brand, so to speak. But the differences between the two would be Matt Baker, obviously him drawing women was the pinup girl, was just perfect. and make those tier on the level, and then you have like Whitman and everybody else, and you figure that out. See, when you find your whatever you're going to collect in Golden Age, you'll fall in love with those 6, 7 artists, and then you'll be able to break it down to them. That's how I learned. Just to
Nice, yeah.
Yeah, here's an example of the Russ Heath I was talking about, where it's like that crazy. There's the light source.
I remember you showing me that book at one point, or maybe.
Yeah, the light source is coming from the grave, which there's obviously no light source, and the whole purpose is just to cast these crazy shadows.
Russ Heath. Is he the guy who did Magnus Robot Fighter?
I don't collect that. I'm not sure. He did a lot of war stuff too. And a lot of Atlas.
Did everything. A lot of war in the. Him and Joe Kubert were probably the 1 and 2 as far as war goes. Of that Atlas era. Just ridiculous Russ Heath stuff. You know, my favorite Russ Heath is the red cover astonishing. I might have it here, right here, but there's a few other books, you know. But one of the things is cool. Comic Books NYC. What's your style before we get into your unboxing?
What's my style? So with Golden, I mean, I think DS can attest to this to some degree. Like
Sweet Silver Age.
I think my style is that I'm figuring out my style, but I lean a little bit towards DC superhero Golden Age stuff, a little bit of Marvel superhero Golden Age stuff, but I have a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit, like I have a little bit of pre-code, like I have a little bit of a lot of different things within Golden Age. So I'm kind of still developing my style. I know that there are certain things that I have been targeting as a collector, and one of them is Schomburg's. I think I have maybe seven or 8.
Very good.
I don't have anything crazy like, you know, Tech 31 Kid has, or anything like, you know, like just out of control, mind-boggling. But
I think the guy across from you right now on my panel, Knights of Old, would be like, I have a Schoenberg or 2.
Yeah, exactly. I probably don't have anything nearly as awesome as Knights of Old, but that's one little subset that I've gone after since I started getting more serious about Golden Age. And then I would also say that, you know, some non-DC,
My Little Pony art.
non-DC, non-timely superhero, like some better publication stuff, like Fighting Yank stuff.
Oh, very cool. Stuff. Yeah.
Nador.
Yeah, Nador, exactly. So
there was some good stuff out there at Comicbooksnyc auction coming up. There was a decent amount of Schoenbergs in there.
Yeah, and I've been browsing it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I did a watch list for the.
That's got a Marvel Mystery 3 by the way as well.
A what?
A Marvel Mystery 3 Knights of Old.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's 4.
It's like, don't tell anyone. I don't need any competition for it.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully the slightly brittle will keep a lot of people.
Slightly brittle 4.5, right? For red restoration.
Something like that, yeah.
I like it. You don't see it.
It's the first one I've seen since like February when I started looking.
Yeah, just imagine you couldn't see a Hulk 181 in any shop or any show you went to on your own if you couldn't see it. That's what it's like, because it's a huge book. So
it's not even that well loved, really. I mean, I always never liked it because it has the angel on the cover.
Yeah.
You know, I've seen it every now and then offered, but then when you look for it, it's like, forget it.
See you later.
That happens a lot in Golden Age, it seems like.
Yeah.
Yep. That's why we have a cool topic tonight. And Knights of Old, I sent it to you and you liked it, or I think DS liked it. You both liked it.
Yeah.
It was kind of a situation that you get to when you get to a certain level, when you're starting to collect the Golden Age, and then you see the book you want. You know, your first big Golden Age purchase, and makes, you know, you've been dabbling in it here and there. You've been spending maybe up to $100. Maybe you went above 100 one time, and then you took a break and went back to collecting variants or something else. But then you got that itch again. You come back and you're like, hey, it's that Golden Age again. And all of a sudden you start saving up some money, and you see a book. You have saved up 500, and you see a book that you want for 1,000, and you have a couple of books you want to sell.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what we're going to. So I think how we described it was
thinning the herd.
Yeah, thinning the herd. When you've got books that you want to eliminate from your collection and use that money, how do you choose which books
Yeah.
in your collection that you choose to get rid of to buy that one big book? Because we all do it. In the golden age especially, that's what you do. Because you start collecting a variety in the beginning when you first get into it. When you first get into it, like Comic Books NYC says, and almost everybody here has said,
Yep.
it will tell you that you started collecting, dabbled in pre-code horror, got into some jungles or whatever, and then I get into some timely. I was really.
I dabbled in 4-color and that
Four
kind of
color
stuff.
is a great.
Nice.
Yeah, that's
That's a
called.
cool one.
It's a great intro. It's like a great intro thing.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
There are things. That's right. You get into the Disney stuff. You get into the Dell. You get into the various levels. The westerns. People love the westerns. The Phantom Strangers. The Three Stooges by Great Legends. Another example. Shazam. Popular. You get into all that. There's so many different levels you get into the Golden Age, but then you find your niche, and then you've got to choose which books are you going to eliminate and how are you going to thin the herd. So that's the topic for tonight. We're calling it Thin in the Herd, and I'm going to pass it on to DS Comics because I know you recently are going through this. So.
Yeah, well, it's funny when you were just like introing that topic. I remember, and this doesn't seem that long ago, where I told my girlfriend, I'm like, that I was watching something on eBay and the bid went up, and I'm like, damn it, it's over 100. I refuse to pay more than $100 for a comic book. And that doesn't seem that long ago. But when I got into Golden Age,
what is it now?
I mean, it's just however much I can raise, man. But when I got into Golden Age, I still tried to keep the costs low, and I was getting into pre-code horror. And then I was working on a run. I was still, superhero collector mindset. I was trying to get runs. And then there was a book coming up I needed for one of my runs, and it was going to be pricey. So I had to sell some superhero stuff. So I picked stuff that was, my first mistake was picking stuff to sell to make some money to buy it. I picked the least important stuff, which is also the least valuable stuff, and you have to sell a lot of it to make a little bit of money.
Shipping and
Yeah, so anymore, I don't do that. I try to sell fewer books. I'll try to sell one big book that's not as big as the one I'm trying to get. And basically what I'll do is I'll pick something that generates enough money from the sale that it's worth, I can get a good chunk for it. And it's something that's going to be easier to replace than other stuff.
Exactly.
And, I just made a big purchase. I'm not revealing it yet, but I think I told all three of you individually and told you all not to tell anyone. So all three of you know what it is, but I'll talk about that next week, and
And I'm super jealous.
on the show. But I sold a big pre-code horror book
You did.
to get that, and it was a grail for me. It really was. But this was a bigger book, and I had to pick the biggest book I had that was easiest to replace, and I sold my Tomb of Terror 15 just because there's so many of them out there. It's easy to replace. There's a lot of them out there. It's not easy to replace because it's still expensive. But I'll work on that again. That's not a hard book to find. So I just picked the easiest thing it is to replace, and I try to pick something big. Like I have books that are worth 400, 500, 600. I don't sell those because if you're going towards something huge, $400 is not that much help. I'd rather just keep that book in my collection. I don't want to sell off 10 books. I try to sell as few as possible that are easier to replace. That's what I do now.
So I'm going to shout out the chat finally. I forgot about that for the first 20 minutes. So first of all, JP's Budget Collecting was definitely first here, and he was great there. And we've got TJ, the Slab Dragon Watson. How are you, my friend? We have Comics Misexplained. Jason, how are you doing there? Mr. Gretzky, 9966, who's got a great Detective Comics collection. Bear Island, how are you? And then we have our own Comic Books NYC on the panel here. Count Bond Strange, how's the count? Very cool. We got DS on the panel here, and then we've got here me, Bocan Joe. How are you? Who dat? Comics and Movies. He just picked up the big prize for his contest going on. Pocan Joe, we got to have him on one day to talk about Ranger comics. To talk about House. He knows Fiction House Ranger. That's a guy who's definitely going to get on. Okay, Kachung, how are you? Good seeing you very much. Loved having him on the show Friday night. That was great. Mastodon Donnie, how are you? Good seeing everybody. And then C. Woodard, how are you? Did a great little signature series show today. Got me thinking about something going for her. There's Kat Wren, very cool seeing her. And she's got her, she did a little recap today. She did some Sorcerer's Stone stuff. But on Thursday, she's so psyched to do this Game of Thrones thing. It's so good. It's so good. Who else we got here? Everybody messing around. All right, John's Comics with Kids. How are you? Good seeing everybody. Boy, you wait 20 minutes. This ruins the whole show, huh? Evan, well, you need see Woodard. And that's good. All right. If I missed
Lots
you,
of great guys.
I'll catch you.
Yeah.
A lot of great people. We appreciate you all for coming. Thank you very much. Okay, now, Knights of Old. We just went over this situation here.
Yeah.
I know you've done it, and
Oh,
we've
yeah.
all done it, but we're going to talk about that moment when you had to
I've
make
done it a lot.
So,
Well, ever since I was a little boy, I was always trading, kids on the block, whatever. Like, I'd end up with this Transformer from this guy, and this. Sometimes their parents would come to my house and be like, no, my son traded, but no, we have to take that back.
are you like the guys in Dumb and Dumber with the little kid where they give him the bird with the cut off head with the tape?
I don't remember that part in that movie, but I mean, it was all like fair stuff. It's just like, but I felt like I always, since very early, I realized that you could get really cool big things by like the wowness factor of like, well, here's 30 G.I. Joe figures for that one whatever cool Transformer or whatever, which my parents won't buy me because it's too expensive, but I'll give you, it's basically like, wow, I want that thing, I can't afford it, but I would sacrifice like everything I own for that. And that kind of carries over, even now sometimes, so basically if I see something I really want and I can't afford it, I immediately think to just my resources, and that's my biggest resource is comics. So I start thinking like, start looking at the herd a little bit, and they start, fidgeting and whatever, and because your previous grail might not seem so graily after when you think you could trade that or a few of them in. And really over time I felt like I've never really regretted trading a bunch of things for one big thing. I feel like I haven't really ever regretted. I've regretted selling things here and there, but if I know that it got me that one big thing that I couldn't get otherwise, then and like you said, like that's the biggest key is like, can you replace it? Because there's just some things that you just, I'm not gonna see that again for who knows when. So I just can't do it.
I thought it was a great topic for me. And my little story is that when I thinned the herd the first time, it wasn't for comics; it was for a life-changing moment. And I thinned the herd of, I hate to say it, the Fantastic Four, up to 26. I had all of them, and 26 was when I got rid of that, and I kept the ones above it because, some characters I liked that I cared more about than I did the Fantastic Four then. But I thinned that herd just to buy a car that wasn't a 2-seater convertible because I was having a kid, that kind of stuff, and that's what it ended up doing. And I consider it's the same thing you do when you want to get that grail. Instead of it's not the minivan right now that you need. You took care of that. Now what you really need is oh my God, I can have the highest grade on the census. I know there's only 4, but this is the highest 7.0 of this book I can have. It's the one I wanted. I've been looking for this one. How often does it come up? It never does. It's way out of my price range. What do I have to go? And I would turn around and go. Exactly what I do. I'm like, okay. And the choice then starts: slab or not slab, bulk or not bulk. Which character of my top 10 characters that I collect is gone first? Literally, the X-Men were first. Fantastic Four was second. And that's exactly what I've done. I've thinned the herd. But at the same point, while I've thinned that herd, I haven't gone down in comic books because I just completed the runs of the ones I really cared about, and got into the Golden Age, which is another half. I've got about ridiculous amounts of Golden Age books in different places right now that I'm trying to organize. But it's, I'm keeping my runs of every ones I like. But I have so many 4-color. I did that. I did the Gene Autry shit. I collected a lot of the. No, I'm serious. I did Love Diary, because the Matt Baker was in the art in those things, and
Yeah.
the Watchers were good. I mean, you gotta say, some of those books, that Teenage Confessions was all ridiculously good stuff, and you didn't have to read the thing. You just look at the cover and be like, you're all messed up, man. I mean, it's literally the opposite of a culture situation going on in some of those. But that's what I'm talking about when I say thin the herd. You really go through what you love, and then you find what you really cared about. Comic Books NYC. Now, you in this mode right now?
So I'm in this mode right now, mainly to have funded my original art habit. The golden age. I feel
you talk about.
Yeah. So and the thinning that I've been doing is mainly has been in the sort of modern copper and bronze age stuff, and to some degree a little bit of silver age stuff, and that sort of has funded some of my original art purchases and maybe a couple of golden age books. But as I sort of alluded to earlier, I'm probably so diverse right now in when I'm buying the golden age books. Like, what am I gonna, if I sell like 4 or 5 colors that are high grade, it's like, okay, I'll make a few $100, you know what I mean?
Right.
Or if I sell a bunch of pre-code horror that are not like Grail pre-code horror, that are just like regular issue pre-code horror, that are like mid-grade copies or whatever.
Make sure you let some of us know, because some of the ones that you don't we all will sit there and says, you didn't show us those books.
Right.
Because some of us are sitting here, like, that's what makes this show, and this is just for bragging. We are absolutely bragging right now. 3 guys who don't know anything about each other's collections. I couldn't tell you that much about Timely books. I could go to Atlas, I got down pretty good, but Timely, no way. My pre-code horror knowledge is kind of limited to the Atlas and Ajax for all things, and some St. John and Avon, but that's it. I have no EC experience. So, and then you have a guy over here who collects LD.
I only have 2 EC books. It's like that's very foreign territory for me.
Well, ironically, I only have 1 EC book. I think everybody on the panel probably has more EC than me. I only have 1. And it's not even a horror. It's the Weird Science Fantasy 29, the Frazetta.
That's what I have too.
Right.
That's the only EC book I own. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's funny because we need an EC person to tell us what we're missing.
Well, if you want EC, go watch Reaper Tate.
That's what we might have to do. We have to bring him on. Yeah.
He's an EC expert, and he's working on runs of them. He knows the keys. He knows the stories. He's going to
help me buy a book. He's going to help me, because there's 1 EC book I need. It's Tales from the Crypt 32.
Jack Davis Werewolf, probably.
No, it's actually there's 2. There's a Jack Davis Weird Science, Incredible Science Fiction. Incredible Science Fiction, which isn't a pre-code horror, but it's Incredible Science Fiction. That's a Jack Davis cover. The other one is a Wally Wood cover. So, and it's a elephant stomping on a girl's face. Straight up great cover. I mean, there is no innuendo about that cover that isn't like, that's the best elephant cover out there. I mean, I thought the one with the skeleton gonna kill everybody is great. I do. But, other than the good girl art, you want somebody getting smushed by an elephant. My own opinion. So,
and I see TJ saying he only has 3 Timelies and 3 ECs. Yeah, like I'm kind of there as far as like, I think I only have 3 Timelies. I probably have, like I said earlier, I probably have, like, if you want to go to one category, what I have the most of within Golden Age, and when I say most, I mean like maybe 10 books total, is DC superhero. So I got a lot of old, Golden Age tech.
Nice.
Batman.
I'm trying to.
That's the stuff I have.
Batman 45. That thing's expensive, huh?
Yeah.
That's Batman with the Tommy gun. Thomas Mimbus explains, and you know what I'm talking about.
I mean, all the Golden Age Batman is pretty.
Yeah.
It's
my favorite. You've got my favorite one. Is it Batman 42 or Tech 42? I can never remember which.
Yeah, I got.
It's like the poor man's Tech 31. I think.
Yeah, let me pull it out. I have it here somewhere. Let's hear it.
I always feel like that's the poor man's version of Tech 31.
Let me see it.
Yeah, it's
okay, yeah.
A large Batman, but he's got the grin.
I love that. That's a cool book. I really like.
The poor man's one is that Neil Adams one.
Now,
Right.
the question is,
I got
Yeah.
that's 227.
all right. This is a good topic. Really quick.
I don't consider that the poor man's Tech 31 because it's not a Golden Age book.
Yeah.
Hang on.
Yeah. I consider this one. I mean, it's not cheap, but
And I don't know that anybody but me considers it that, but you can see the similarities. And none of us are getting a Tech 31 anytime soon. You've
No.
got that. That's a super cool, like iconic Batman, gigantic
I
figure
love
on
it.
the cover.
Yeah, it's my favorite Batman book. That
And that's what, 42, right?
That is 42. Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably the newest DC tech that I have is 108. So that's
Oh, the first bat signal, right?
this Bat Signal on the cover.
Oh,
So
okay.
I also have Tech 60, which is first Bat Signal.
Nice.
So, but this is the better cover. You know what I mean? This is the better book
Yeah.
to display, you know, on the wall or wherever you want to display it. So,
Yeah, I think my favorite Batman / Detective Comics cover is like Batman 6. It's the red cover, and it's got Batman and Robin on
He
it,
loves the red covers.
and it's just it's a bright red cover. I think it's Batman number 6.
oh yeah. I know what you're talking about. It's an N1 in a way, but it's a red
Yeah,
cover.
and
Kind of has that vibe to it. You know what I mean? Where you look at it and you're like, is that a number 1 issue? But it's not. You know?
yeah, and I almost think it's like a pinstripe pattern on it or something.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yeah, that one. I think it's number 6. It's really cool. I love that one. It's got Batman on one side and Robin on the other side running.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my favorite one. But that's super expensive. I'll never get that because I don't want to spend pre-code horror money on
There you
a
go.
Batman issue.
Which is
Yeah.
where we're trying to, you know, Comics Must Explain. I mean, was just saying that he that Batman 45 with the Tommy gun is his favorite, and that's something he has his own niche, which actually is pretty cool. It's Batman anytime he carries a gun. Now, Comic Books NYC, you're gonna find your niche. That's the thing. You don't know what it is yet, and it might be EC or it might be something that in the Golden Age that you're gonna go nuts for. But I heard you got a package in.
I do have a package in. So,
What do you
I
think?
just want to say
Actually,
one.
oh, we got to. I want to see. Oh, wait,
Ooh.
this one.
so that's definitely on my list. Is that
Just
20
one. I only have one Golden Age Batman, and I had to go
That's-
for
that's the Hugo Strange, right?
pre-Robin. Yeah.
Yeah, that's an early one. Yeah,
I was never a fan of Robin, so when I had the opportunity to get this, I still think I paid a lot, but it's pretty cool. I'd love a 33, really, is what I'd really
This is
love.
my Golden Age Batman here. Old
so-
school.
Oh, Thor.
Nice.
Yeah.
This is another good one. It's the
Thor.
you know the first death
That's
of
awesome.
Hugo Strange.
Oh,
So,
cool.
The Tech 46. 46.
Yeah, and JD, that should be
Nice.
the first Thor in comics. I
Well,
think. That
that's
predates all the Marvel stuff.
it does, but there's a Thor apparently in the Golden Age, and I haven't been able to find it anywhere. But this technically is 1950 something Batman, where it's Mjolnir. He's throwing Mjolnir right there,
Yeah.
and actually Superman's in this, and that's how Superman dresses up like. Spoiler alert! If you're gonna read it, Superman dresses up like Batman. So,
Yeah, I think if a book's been out for 60 plus years, there's no such thing as a spoiler anymore.
yeah. I always
Like,
say-
I haven't seen Endgame yet. That's still in the spoiler. That's still within a couple months. But I think when you go back to 1950, it's spoilers. If you haven't heard about it or read about it, anything from the 50s, that's it. You hear about it's not a spoiler.
we landed on the moon. Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
So cool. So let's get into what else. Anybody else want to? Who else? Did anybody else have an unboxing? No, we have a big thing next week. But let's.
I got a book today. If you want to see the book I got, it's a small one.
Let's see the book, and then Comic Books NYC is going to do an unboxing.
It's just
Yeah,
got.
why don't I work on opening the box while he shows that?
And I'll
All right.
shoot up the chat. Biggie Shack, how are you? Good seeing everybody. TJ brought it. He's got one of those that the detective was on his grail list. And yes, his birthday is I'm not going to say it because that's up to him. And then you've got good conversation. Oh, wow. Look at this. If you're, well, I'm just going to read this. Detective 32, first time he used a gun. That's the one I was looking for, or the other one. But I always look for these books now. When you tell me your niche, that's the problem. Now I'm all following. I know you guys are looking at elephant covers.
Yeah. I look at them all the time now.
I get it all the time. I've showed you guys exactly messages I get from people on the CGC website and emails I get. Man, I just saw this elephant cover. I'm like, sure. So.
Yeah, if you want to lock the screen on me while I show this, and
Sure.
I'll tell you a little bit about it while he's opening his box.
Mhm.
All right, so I got this today. Matt Baker cover, Nightmare 13. I had a copy of this that I got graded and came back a 7.5, and I ended up selling that because it's not that important of a book to me. And I made a humongous profit on that, which helped funded the Grail that we'll see here next week. So I replaced it with this modest 3.0. So now I have, a non-expensive. I still like the book. It's still an awesome Matt Baker cover. I don't need a 7.5 that's worth multi-thousands of dollars. So I picked this one up for a few hundred off the comic link, and it looks good. It doesn't have any pieces missing. It's rough, but I mean, yeah. So I want it, but I don't need to have all my money tied up in a 7.5. So I sold that one and replaced it with this. So
I feel like he hasn't. I feel like he hasn't drawn a lot of kind of fantasy art, so that's kind of a real.
Yeah, I mean the Good Girl art is super hot, but he doesn't have a lot of horror type stuff.
Who's it?
Fantasy/horror, Matt Baker.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, this is my replacement for that 7.5 JD that I sold to fund a Grail that I'll show next week.
Oh, but but you got a great deal on that book.
On this one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I got this for a few $100.
Yeah, that's a great deal. I mean, there's a couple of Baker ones that there's a Teenage Confession one. Obviously, the big one for any Baker fan is Jumbo 69, and of course, it's a pain in the ass to find. I got to get that for Who Dat Comics. I promise.
What about the Phantom?
27. Well, that's a thing. Phantom Lady 17.
Mm-hmm.
Prove to me that I honestly don't think that's Baker.
It might not be, but
yeah, but what the other ones he's done. You can tell him, and that's one where you're like, I really don't see it, and you'll never know. That's one of the great things, when we get into this once before, is that you don't really know who the artist is, unlike Iger shops and stuff like that. Where's Cap Shield?
Oh, you can compare it to stuff that's known to be the certain artist, and some of them are so strikingly different. It's amazing that people even believe that it is that artist.
Oh, I
can't prove that it's not, because the only thing out there is a CGC label that definitively says one thing or the other.
And we
people,
argue,
yeah, people go with the labels like they put classic cover on a lot of their labels, and people will market it like, hey, this is a classic cover.
Oh.
Well, why? Because CGC calls it a classic cover.
Exactly.
My Chamber of Chills 19. They don't say it's a classic cover, and that is the most iconic pre-code horror cover in history, and it's not a classic cover. So, you can't go by what's on the CGC label all the time.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I mean,
especially when it comes to Golden Age, when there's so few books even.
Yeah, and a lot of the art is not credited in the Golden Age.
It's accredited.
It's not signed.
You got editors that were artists. Before, like when Iger shops, everything is Iger shops. Iger Shops was, Iger owned a shop, and he had Baker working for him, Joe Doolin, Jack Kamen, and then you had the Harvey Publishing guys. Harvey, you had Elias, LB Cole. You had a bunch of guys that were just there, but LB Cole you kind of knew. I mean, everybody had their own style. That was just a little
like that Black Hat 50 I have. The CGC says it's a Lee Elias cover. A lot of other collectors think it's a Warren Kramer cover.
I always say it's Warren Kramer.
Sure. I've compared it to the Tomb of Terror 15, very similar face covers. And if you look at some of the details in the woman's face, or the way that the guy's face is drawn, or the hairlines, it looks like Lee Elias to me. So I think it is Elias, but a lot of people think it's Kramer. But it's not signed and it's not credited. There's no way to know for sure.
Exactly. And that's when you have that in the jungle. Like everybody's like, what's Matt Baker's first cover? Well, there's a few that he did for Jumbo Comics. This is a Baker cover here, but only portions of it are, because they would draw what they were doing is you're in charge of drawing girls. So Baker would draw Sheena a lot, or draw the sides of the elephant. But a lot of times the elephant, depends on what the scene was. It'd be Joe Doolin would do the girl, and Baker might do the side. You would never know. That's exactly how it worked.
Does that Matt Baker book detail out any more information? Because I heard it was a pretty good book.
Oh, the biography on him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to. Somebody who has to do a review on that. I think Hudat and I should get on that. You know, start reading about that.
Maybe they talk about some of this stuff in there.
I mean, he's pretty. I mean, Paul Midwest Comics did a great artist review of him. That was really cool.
Yeah.
So anyway, NYC, are you ready to rock?
Yeah, I'm ready to go.
You're locking the screen on him, so I don't want to miss this.
Cool.
Yeah.
So I'll start off by saying that these are both low grade books. I had certain grades in my head for these books. Whether I haven't seen the grades yet. They're still in the bubble wrap here. I'm trying to kind of maneuver it so that it's a surprise.
Are you saying
this is a CGC package that came
Yeah, it's a CGC.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. I thought you just bought a book and it arrived.
No, so these two books were sent to CGC in early February. Okay, CCS worked on them, but it's definitely a 3.5 month turnaround or so with some CCS work. So they came in Friday of last week. So I've just been holding the box since then, so I can unbox it here. The first one is a pre-code horror book. It's a Toby Press book, so it's a smaller publisher. Published, I think, literally just that pre-code horror era, like 1949-50 to 55. Ben Brown and David Gantz did the artwork on this one, so Ben Brown pencils. Now, what's interesting about this book, it has some GGA. It's got some good girl art. But it also has bondage. So 2 things which are attractive to.
She's wearing a red dress.
Yes.
Yeah,
so
triple crown right there.
So that checks a lot of boxes. What's interesting is when I bought this book last year, I bought it about 6 or 7 months ago. I checked the CGC census back then, and there were only 10 books on the census for this issue. I checked it today, there's 15. So literally in the last 6 months, it's kind of, doubled, or no, not doubled. It's gone up by 50% for, what I'm assuming is a fairly scarce book. So thought that was kind of interesting. The grade that I'm expecting for this book is like a 1.0 or possibly even a 0.5, which I have no issues. I have other 0.5s in my Golden Age collection. So if it comes back a 0.5, it wouldn't be below my expectations necessarily. If it comes back anything above a 0.5, it would be above my expectations. So it's Tales of Horror issue number 11.
Oh.
So let me. I think I saw the grade. Yeah, I saw it. Anyway, I'll do the reveal anyway. So there you go.
Oh yeah, okay.
Very cool.
Right. So good girl art, tentacle bondage.
And the colors look really good on that.
It looks really good.
Amazing.
I'm just seeing the reflection right now. It looks awesome. I can't wait to look at it.
Yeah, it looks fantastic. I mean, whatever the grade is, that looks sweet.
Presents well for whatever the grade
doesn't have any chunks missing, and the colors are bright. That's nice.
So what is the grade?
1.5.
1.5. I'll take it.
What's the page quality? Off-white?
Off-white.
Yeah, that's nice,
really
man.
good. Yeah. What's the what does it say underneath it? Staple something?
Coupon. So I already knew about this, which is why I thought it might have been a 0.5. Out of page 11. Yeah. Out of page 9. So.
Yeah. Yep. That happens in those. Yeah.
Yep.
It's one of those. I was waiting to see that. See, that's one of the cool things. If it happens in a modern book, it gives you the green label, but on a Golden Age, you kind of get away with that.
Yeah, I was either expecting a 0.5 or a qualified like 3.0 or something like that.
Well, they told me that I've talked to them numerous times about the qualified labels. The qualifying defect has to have more than a 2-point difference on the total grade to get a green. If it's within 2 points, so if that book is only like a 3.0, that dropped it down to a 1.5. That's not 2 points. So it still says it's still blue, even though it's incomplete.
Gotta say, I'm pretty happy with the way it presents in this slab, though.
Oh yeah, it looks good.
I know, it's a high-end
Congratulations.
Mylar. That's why I like slab.
Nice.
One of the reasons I like slabs, it's like a high-end Mylar.
Really is.
Yeah.
Everything
All right.
is great in a slab.
Oh yeah.
So second book, let me see if I
Boo.
can. Second book is it's more the superhero world. It's from the Nidor Better Publications universe, the Fighting Yank universe. It is a Schomburg cover.
Yep.
It's a Schomburg cover. It's a Startling Comics title. There's only 8 on the census. Highest graded is a 9.4. This is not a 9.4. Let's get
If
that
that was a
out of the
9.4,
way.
you would be selling it, I'm sure.
Is there?
So my prediction for this, like going into it, was maybe a 3.5, 4.0. So I could be off.
Oh, I was gonna say
very
she's
nice.
carrying him. She's carrying him. Okay, cool.
Yeah, so it's Startling Comics issue 43.
43.
Pyro Man.
Yep. That's a cool. That's a
Pretty
great.
cool.
Look at the colors on
I
that.
love the purple plane in the background, like the green,
Yeah.
the reds, the blue. That's a sharp looking book.
That really
I
is.
have no idea what this is.
2.5.
2.5.
Good.
5.
That's good.
Huh. I'm wondering why.
That's all right, man. You got 2 back, Golden Age, both blue. That's
Yeah,
the
blue.
True.
Yeah.
If you get blue, when you get your Golden Age back, if they're blue, it's
Yeah.
all golden
I
I
after
have a
that.
purple coming.
The only note is tape on interior cover.
Tape doesn't bother me at
Tape
all. I
doesn't
collect
bother me.
Golden Age. I don't care about tape. It's
It
not a
depends.
problem.
That's pretty
There's the thing with tape, though. If the tape goes the entire length of the spine,
Yep.
it kind of ticks me off.
Yeah,
me too.
I mean, but so many Golden Age books have tape.
I know,
pieces
my
here and there.
earring-
I don't worry about it.
Yeah, I agree, JD. Like that bothers me. Like if I see tape kind of like down here on the cover too, that bothers me. So
I have it on my Erie 17. Oh, drives me nuts.
but yeah,
It's a great because
Awesome.
everything else on the book is beautiful. It would be
this
like
was my first time using CCS for Golden Age.
What's the page quality on that one? Is that
Off-white.
off-white also?
Off-white, yeah.
Wow,
Off-white.
nice.
What did they do for you?
sometimes those get brittle and especially Startling. Yeah, well, Starling's
Pressed and cleaned. But yeah, Startling Comics, great title. I have another issue
That
slab.
Pyro Man is really cool. I love that
Issue
Pyro Man.
38. This is a Schomburg as well. It's
That's
the
Fighting Yank right
Ooh.
there.
the hypodermic needle
Look
cover.
at, this blonde, look at that. Wait, go. We got headlights. Yeah, she is.
Yeah.
Fighting Yank coming in.
So those
Yeah,
are my.
I definitely like the
Fighting
Iron Man
Yank.
covers the best in that.
What'd you say? I'm sorry.
Fighting Yank's cool. I definitely like Pyro Man better on those covers than the Fighting Yank, just because he's got like that electric glow around him, and he looks like he's got like a devil hat on. It's just super cool looking. I love the Pyro Man covers.
Well, here's a here's a Fighting Yank.
Black Terror.
Here's a Fighting Yank that's a 0.5 because of
Oh, that's
of a missing piece on the inside of the book.
Mm.
So, but this is like a Schomburg Grail for me. So,
Oh yeah,
That's cool.
yeah.
you know, Fighting Yank 23. You got the good girl art, the snake, and the
Red
hooded element. So yeah, this is up there for me. So the story behind this book is pretty funny. I won this book last year on a My Comic Shop auction. Okay, not buy it now, on an auction. They have like weekly cyclical auctions, right? After I buy the book, but before the book arrives, I see the book on Instagram belonging to somebody else on Instagram saying, hey, if you're interested in this book, it's on mycomicshop.com. It was like an older post, and somehow it made its way to my like Instagram feed, like Instagram suggest posts and whatnot. So I was like, that looks a whole lot like the book that I just won on My Comic Shop or whatever. So I scrolled to the guy's page, fellow Golden Age collector from New York. Guess what? His name is Bill. His handle on Instagram is Comics NYC, and my handle is Comic Books NYC. I hit him up. I'm like, "Is this your book?" It's like it would be crazy if it was, considering we both have basically the same exact account name.
Very cool.
And he's like, "Yes, it is." That, like, what are the chances of that? That was the first time I had talked to the dude. But since then, I've talked to him a bunch, and I also got to hang out with him at Big Apple Con earlier this year and actually meet in person and whatnot. We went out to dinner with a bunch of other Golden Age collectors and talked Golden Age. So this book kind of led me to another comic community member who collects Golden Age that also shares my Instagram handle to some degree. Kind of crazy.
Yeah, and I actually I meant to send you a message a couple months ago, and I think I hit him up because I follow him on
Yeah,
there
I think
too, and I sent him a
people-
message that was meant for you, and he didn't really know what I was talking about, but it was vague enough that he could come, converse back about some Golden Age. He thought I was just randomly hitting up about something, and I'm like, what is Copy talking about? What does he not? I'm like, oh, this is the wrong account. That's why he doesn't know what I'm saying.
So, want to shout out the chat a little bit here. Boy who had 7 showed up. Thank you very much for being here. Very cool. Alex, the comic order. Again, see what JP's budget collecting still here. Everything's going great. One thing I just am I working? Is it,
Yeah, I can
You're
hear
working.
Yeah, we can hear it.
one of the things is I wanted to do before we hand off to Comic Book, we show everything else. One of the cool things that you showed is like you like the Schomburg covers, and you like that one, the blonde dress. What covers by Schomburg could we talk about that we think are the covers for Schomburg? Let's have a little Schomburg discussion.
I mean, for me, it's Startling Comics 49 is sort of like the epic. Except I don't think she's passed out. She's awake.
She's awake, yeah.
She's awake. But it's the Bender, the robot from Futurama, book, whatever. That's definitely a grail for me. This is another book that I was going to show. It's Wonder Comics. So this is another, better Nidor, Schomburg, good girl art.
Yep.
Yeah, I like that one.
Got the brunette this time. So this for me was like kind of filling a void because it's an airbrush cover, and it's kind of a Pieta cover, but she's also awake, but there's bondage involved. So like I saw this book and I was like, hey, maybe this will tide me over until I get a Startling Comics 49. You know what I mean? While also adding to my Schomburg collection.
Did Schomburg do a lot of Blonde Phantoms? Knights of Old?
I don't think so. I don't even know if he did any, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't think so. And I also got, let's see, here's a Thrilling Comics Schomburg.
Yeah, I have Thrilling 63, the elephant cover.
Yeah, so this is the the girl with the knife and the ape in the corner. So
any of those are great.
This was a fruit of my eBay bucks at some point purchase, which is cool.
Comics, by the way, are really reasonably priced. All of them.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
Schomburg. This is a Schomburg sci-fi cover.
Okay. Oh yeah.
Story magazine.
That's hard to find.
Really hard to find. So
yeah.
Haven't quite.
TJ, did you see that one?
But
if TJ is in the chat, I think him and I both love that. Yeah, let's show that cover again. Let's see if he.
There you go.
You see that.
See.
Look at that Pieta. Look at that.
That's a total Pieta cover right there.
Oh yeah.
But what about the timely Schomburgs?
Yeah, well, that's what we're gonna get into.
I got some timely
showdown.
Not a ton, but.
So.
Oh, let me before I get into any of the timely, I do have a whole bunch of other DC. So this is All Star Comics.
That's
22,
great.
The flag cover.
Yep.
Yeah.
What
Low grade.
number is that?
That's pretty nice.
What number is that? All Star.
It's a 22.
22,
so,
right? 22.
Yeah.
Okay.
Classic flag cover. One of my favorites. This is also a relatively more recent pickup. It's an E.E. Hubbard cover, so it's Comic Cavalcade issue 14 with Golden Age Flash, Golden Age Wonder Woman. So this is a title that that has a lot of covers in it that I would love to get, but this is the first one that I got, so it's like my entry point into collecting this title.
And they're affordable. Wonder Woman covers.
Yeah, they're affordable.
Yeah, Wonder Woman 9's kind of like a tough one for me to find.
Is that the elephant?
And then,
yep.
Action Comics 29, first CGC recognized cover appearance of Lois Lane.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Although there are Golden Age collectors who will argue that it's Action Comics 27, which I'm also looking for.
That is also significant in the history of when Superman first flew, because
Yep.
that is a point where he is definitely flying, because you
Right.
can see that he's going down, across, and then moving up, so he's not falling or jumping.
Yes.
You could see the way he's completely like he's not leaping off the ground; he's flying.
No, he came across from the side, and then
Yep.
he grabbed her, and now he's going up, so he's moving in midair. So anybody who says his first flight is after that is clearly mistaken because of
Yeah.
that. So I think that's
Yeah.
significant in that debate, which nobody really knows the real answer to yet. But
Yeah,
Agree.
I'm pretty sure we're not going to find out. But
Probably my favorite,
that's a
Superman
great
book.
trail. That's actually, I think that's probably one of the top 5 sought after action comics for Superman fans. That's
Yeah.
always on their list. It's the first flight, first load.
It's a toss-up for me whether I like that book or this book more, but this is the Superman
Oh,
11,
oh, that one's definitely better for me. I like that one.
Breaking the Chains.
yeah.
I
I like the American flag one.
Neil Adams, would later use it as inspiration for 233 in Bronze Age, but
And
that's
kind
one
of
of my favorites.
rebirth of Superman.
You got to get the black one with the eagle and the tank.
Oh man,
That one's
that's
so
an
good.
I almost had that
expensive
world's
one there.
with Batman, him, and Wonder Woman. I almost had that world's finest. I lost out on it in an auction just because I was like saving a little extra buck. And I was like, I'll bid 400, and the guy behind me bid 410, and he was like, I'm gonna buy it no matter what. And I just was gonna like, let's see, and then he turned around at the end of it. He didn't have enough to pay for it. So I was like, oh, can I get it for the $400? And then the guy turned around and goes, no, he's going to sell a book. So he sold the book.
Well, you can go on eBay right now and pick up the World's Fair, the 1940 World's Fair, 1939 one. That's on eBay right now for like $6,000. You should go grab that.
Ridiculous.
10%, you get 10%, you get $100 off.
That's true.
Only one more
Just
DC
in the
book.
herd.
That's Boy Commandos 2. So this
Very
is
cool.
Boy Commandos giving Hitler the
Yeah.
the
that's
bums
cool.
rush.
Yep.
So this is my only Hitler cover.
That's it. Is that a Simon cover?
Kirby?
Yeah, no. Yeah, it's a Kirby and Simon cover.
Yeah, Simon Kirby one.
And it's restored. It's a 4 or 5 restored, but the only notes are
What
taken.
number is it?
Boy Commandos 2.
2. Yeah, I was going to say that because they go. I was looking up something about because a friend of mine just bought a Boy Commandos like 4 or 5 or something like that. They're hard to come by with staples attached. That's like a big problem with them.
So yeah, there you go. Done with. I mean, I have more DC, but I'm not going to belabor the point. I mean,
Yeah, it's good stuff.
there's one book that covers 2 of my collecting goals, which is Marvel Timely and Schomburg. So that's Captain America Comics 51.
Nice.
Some great action on that one.
Jeez.
The American General or something
Big
over.
leap. Yeah.
Yes.
So that's
cool.
definitely a highlight. I only have one issue of Marvel Mystery Comics. It's like one of the cheaper ones. Marvel Mystery Comics 70, 50. It's white pages though, which is kind of crazy. So this is another aspect or another series that I would like to expand my collection on, but this is all I can do, sort of.
Talk to Knights of Old right now. I mean, he's the guy.
I know. I want to.
He's missing what? What? How many are you missing? 3 and something.
A lot.
20s,
I'm not doing a run of that. That's for sure. That'd be crazy.
And then the oldest, I guess, timely I have is Captain. This is Sid Shores.
Ooh, nice.
Sid Shores is one of my favorites.
So this is Captain America Comics 20.
That's a great one.
Yeah, I have a lot of old Sid Shores stuff from the crime novel, from the crime books he did. They're just ridiculously good.
So I just, I love this one. This is probably my favorite one to just like put up from time to time and like leave it up and look at it. I guess I skipped over this one because one of my grails is World's Best Comics #1, which is World's Finest. It's really World's Finest #1, but they only had one issue under the World's Best moniker. But I don't have that yet. It's that's the one where it's Batman, Robin, and Superman on the cover for the first time together. It's a white cover, so it's hard to get without the like very like dirt kind of smudge look. Yeah, I mean, and there's not many of them anyway. But I do have this issue. This is World's Finest number 8.
Oh, that's great.
So you have all of them as well on this title, and you got the war bonds and stamps thing, which is always prominent in a lot of these titles. So, yeah. So I don't know. I got more books. I don't know if you want me to keep going. You guys show some stuff. Or
tell me some of your favorite Captain America Schomburgs you'd like to get.
Oh my god, dude. The thing is, as soon as they go, 51 is technically post-war, right? It's got like a war vibe, but it's technically post-war. I think it's like 46, right?
It was 46, right?
Yeah. So
last war one is 47.
46 or 47, yeah.
Yeah, 46.
So really,
DJ Day happens.
Yeah.
Really, it's just a matter of getting one that's technically wartime Schomburg. Like I don't necessarily have a favorite, but that's my next goal for both Captain America comics and Schomburg.
This is a classic one you should get.
USA Comics, you showing that one?
Here's a classic one he might want.
The
motorcycle one. 27.
Ooh. Yeah, that's awesome, bro.
On the way to Berlin. It's pretty cool. It also has some Russian tanks, which is really interesting because this is right around the time of the war when the Russians were starting to actually win against the Nazis' invasion into, it was the winter there, and they couldn't take Stalingrad and all this. So it was getting in the news. So Schomburg had some Russian, like Captain America would lead the Russian army. I don't know. That's a little weird, but it's pretty cool.
Do you have issue 6 by chance? It's not a Schomburg. It's a Kirby.
I used to have that one. It's a cool one.
I love that one. That one's on my.
I have.
let's
see.
I just want the shark one. What is that? 26 or something?
26. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the only one I need, man. It's just 26. I'm not doing the timelies. I just want the shark ones.
I like this for the early Kirby ones. Good one. Number 7.
Is that Joe Simon too on that?
I mean, they work together, but it looks very Kirby to me.
Yeah.
So
I just see the colors are so dark.
You could tell by the women. I mean, Kirby's girls were not very Tom Baker like.
No, they were not Matt Baker. They were.
But look at that pose. It's very, amazing fantasy ish in a way.
Yeah. 51 is kind of amazing fantasy-ish in a way. If you look at it like for what's it called? For Bucky. Bucky's got the the rope, and he's kind of in the Spidey pose there. Yeah.
That's cool.
That's cool. One of the books I was going to show is the Spellbound. This was the Bill Everett I was talking about.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
If you want to see something here, look at the skeleton there chasing the guy and the shadow on the wall. But on the other side of the door is another skeleton. You think it's the other arm. It's like the detail on it. There's a hand. You can see it right there that's holding the door open. I mean, it's ridiculous. Yeah. I mean, the detail on these covers back then. This is still, by the way, DS white pages on this.
Yeah, nice. That's impossible to find on any Golden Age.
Yeah.
I was listening to an interview with Bill Everett's daughter, and she was talking about how he had taught her how to letter, so she would do lettering in some of the around that time period. But but she said he didn't want her to do the horror ones, so her older brother or younger brother would give him the horror ones to help letter.
Spellbound is actually kind of a historical thing. 3 is a famous worm cover, the fantastic worm cover. But I think 3 is also Stanley's first horror story, or this one is.
I don't think it's number 3 because I had 3, and that's the Russ Heath worm in the cave.
The worm, right? The worm coming out of the cage. Because this one says Stanley's story on Spellbound, and this is 52, so he wouldn't have been doing horror. Because Atlas really didn't go this direction till this time, It never really, even though he was in charge of, he was editor of crime and stuff like that. He wasn't doing the horror. That was brand new.
Well, I'd pull it out and check, but that's one of the sales that I guess I regret it more than not. But I more than doubled my money on it in just a matter of 2 weeks. But I had a Spellbound 3 and a 5.0.
Oh, the Worm. Yeah, oh, it's beautiful.
Yeah, and I sold it because I just flipped it quick to get some other stuff. But it just happened so quick, and it was such a profit that I got rid of it. And I didn't have a time to really consider it for a while, and I probably wouldn't do it now because I want that book, and it's hard to. And I had a 5.0 and off-white pages. So
Yeah, 3 is one of those.
I had it for like a couple weeks.
I've seen him. I saw one at C2E2 Raw. That was really intrigued by, but I couldn't. It's one of those you couldn't guarantee the restoration or not.
Oh yeah.
That's another thing about thinning the herd that I just thought of when you mentioned selling that 1DS is sometimes, when you're looking for all this, your book, you get real familiar with what's out there. And there'll be times when certain books just will be nowhere. So sometimes if you're looking to thin the herd, and you notice like, wow, there's just nothing of this book that I have, I might dangle it out there and see what happens.
I think that's what I did because I put it on eBay at a buy it now at double what I paid for it 2 weeks earlier, and it sold within 12 hours. I put it at a price or best offer, and somebody just bought it outright. Like they didn't want to put the offer out there and let it wait and somebody else snipe it from them. So
and that's the thing with Golden Age. Like that's the space where like you have to work with Golden Age. It's like that other guy on the other end is thinking to himself, I may never see the book again. So, or maybe, 2 years or whatever it is. So they're going to pay up,
And there are some.
Yeah. And it was a 5.0 too. So, I mean,
there.
I'll get another copy, but I really would just like a 3.0, 3.5, 4.0. I mean, maybe another 5.0. It's not the rarest book ever.
Sure.
No,
but it was, I had the only one in a period of time that came up. And so I threw it out there and it sold quick. So.
Yeah, I'm holding on to this one, but I've been offered stuff for this one, even though I've seen it on eBay sell for raw pretty cheap, and then slabbed it goes for ridiculous because maybe I don't know why the difference, but I just saw one only sell for like a couple $100, and I'm like, I mean, I paid pretty much next to nothing for this raw, but I told around and I said, "Is this a big deal?" And they're like, "Yeah, it could be Stan's first horror story." Well, the first one he's accredited with, let's be honest.
Well, the Atlas has been dirt cheap for a while, and it's still very cheap compared to most all of PCH stuff. But, people who are into PCH, a lot of people who are just getting into it or don't have big enough budgets, they're getting priced out of anything that's average or better at this point. So the Atlas stuff is starting to garner a lot more attention, and prices are starting to go up. So if anybody's sitting on some Atlas books, I would say sit on them a little longer and then start piecing them out little by a time to make more money because they're starting to go up, but they're not there yet. They're still the cheapest ones out there. They're ahead of ACG.
Yeah, they're ahead of ACG, but I always say ACG is the one that I always say that if you're gonna get into pre-code horror, get into ACG as soon as you can.
Yeah, they have some really cool stuff,
and that's going to be taken over by the way Ajax and Farrell was. I was buying Ajax and Farrell for years, which were cheap. 5 years ago, they were dirt cheap.
Yeah.
They were low, and they became really hot like 2 years ago.
I know. There's like a hardcore fan base.
A year ago, and I sold all of them. I was bang. I was like, God, you can have them. I was paying like jungle prices. I was paying like $30-$40 for books and selling them for $300-$400 a couple of years later, just because EC Tales from the Crypt went crazy and Black Cats went up and everything else. But then nobody really was that much into Ajax Farrell, and there was a collection that I picked up for dirt cheap, like maybe $25 to $40 a book, if that.
Well, the Ajax Farrells have almost a cult following. There's a very devoted following of those. I'm not one that's into Ajax Farrell stuff that much, so when I get them, I flip them. But there's people that go nuts over them, and some of them are very, very rare. They're very hard to find. Like Voodoo Annual 1, that is one of the absolute scarcest pre-code horror books of everything. It's the Voodoo Annual #1. You virtually never see it, and even low copies go for a couple grand.
It's like Jumbo
And,
2. Jumbo 2 you won't find.
Yeah, is that the Lou Fine cover where he's stabbing the dinosaur or something?
Yep, and also the first Jack Kirby work.
Oh, nice.
It's impossible to find. So
I think my battery is about to die.
oh, you should.
So if I disappear, I'm sorry.
All right, no worries. So anyway, so that was about it. What'd you think, Comicbooksnyc? You like the show?
I love the show. I mean, I've seen every episode so far,
Cool.
so it's awesome to be on the show. I think that Golden Age is just, you know, a sector, if you will, within the comic book collecting community that needs more love. And this is a huge step towards that. So kudos to you guys.
Well, you definitely have a great passion for Golden Age, because when you and I talk on like Instagram, it's pretty much the only thing we talk about is Golden Age, and you share the passion I do when we have those discussions. I can tell you have Golden Age in your heart. So.
One of us.
If you're talking to the right Comicbooksnyc. If you're talking to the right one.
Yeah, if I'm talking to the right one. Although the other one's in the Golden Age too, so
the other guy dwarfs me as far as like what he's got. So damn.
All right. Well, I've only got 2 Schomburgs, and one is not great. So this is the only Schomburg I have. Schomburgs.
Oh, that's a great
one.
So
if you're gonna have one, this is a good one to have. So
yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Red dress, blonde hair, as usual.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
That's really the only Schomburg I have. I have the Fighting Yank 20, where he's jumping in to stab the shark as the shark is swimming to get the girl. His jaw's open. Yeah, that's not worth a whole lot. I like shark covers though, so I have a copy of that.
I think I only have like 8 Schomburgs. 8.
Probably my favorite Schomburg timely is this one.
Yeah.
This USA.
That's amazing.
It was one of the first ones I really loved, and it's still just I don't know. And there's been some debate about whether Sid Shores or someone else had something to do with this. And sometimes there's been talk of Schomburg inking more than penciling, and this could maybe be one of those times, because Cap's face does look a little strange, not the usual Schomburg one,
right?
But I mean, the rest of it obviously very Schomburg. But,
yeah, because he seemed to draw a lot of like the military machines, like the ships and the tanks, in colors that didn't match the war. He would just that's a yellow aircraft carrier, and that Russian tank was like red and green.
Yeah,
so
he very
always
graphic design oriented.
Even the inside of the shield's got cool coloring on it. It's multicolored parts of the shield.
Yep.
But yeah, I tried to get into timelies, and I bought like low end Young Allies, and it cost enough, and then I sold it because I want other stuff, and I want timelies, but I don't want them enough to sacrifice a budget that I could use on horror books.
And I feel the same way about pre-code horror. Like I dabbled in it for a little bit, but I haven't bought like this book I bought, that just came back. I bought 7 months ago. It just took took a while to send it to CGC, and then it took forever at CGC. So I haven't really bought a pre-code horror book in like
for Schomburg. That's how I am. There's like selected Schomburg books I want. I obviously want a Suspense 3 starting 49. I have the Terrific 5. I just pick and choose now like some of the Schomburg bigger books that I want, but I think none of them that I want are even timelies.
Those are the best non-timelies.
I think. I mean, a lot I just got one graded. I mean, I'm a huge fan of this title and his work in this title.
Well, and the timely ones, like here's one of his first covers. I mean, it looks, compare this to like, one of those later ones. It's so different. It's crazy.
Well, that reminds me almost of like Lou Fine art or like a Zolnarowicz or something, because that doesn't look that I would go for, but I know how much that's going to cost that I'm not even going to waste my time.
And it's very pulpy still.
How much?
Like if you compare, here's the first Marvel pulp.
How
you
much?
know,
How much did Lou Fine do on Timely?
I don't think he did any.
He didn't do any timelies, but I mean,
yeah.
yeah, his stuff has that sort of style to it. Very stylized, very like almost like a Frazetta artwork with the line, a lot of thin lines and a lot of detail with very thin lines.
He's mostly 30s and early 40s.
Yeah, I mean, his Fantastic Comics 3, where that guy's fighting that giant robot, would be one of my all-time grails. That's right up there with Suspense 3, honestly. Those are
I only have one book that Frazetta's involved with, and it's definitely not a grail or anything like major, but it's Goofy Comics. And there's only 2 copies. It's Goofy Comics 29, but there's only 2 of these on the census, and the other one's a 9.4, and this is an 8.5.
So there's only 2, and your 8.5 is the lowest graded.
Yes, my 8.5 is the lowest graded.
I'm going to show my Schoenberg real quick here.
Yeah. Oh, that's a great one.
This is one of my favorite Schoenberg covers.
That's so good.
Obviously, the elephant.
Really
Comics 63. Just great, good girl art, and the tiger kind of shines out of there. I mean, the elephant's there. It's great. Schoenberg did one of the elephant real life 35. But this is, I mean, she can draw feet better than Liefeld right there. What do you think? Look at Alex.
Yeah.
But he signs his Zella, Alex backwards. So that's how you know. This is really old. Great condition, but a great book. Great Schoenberg.
I've been reading a book recently. I forget what it's called. It's like Secrets of Marvel or something. But they show a ton of Schoenberg illustrations from Pulp magazine interiors, and they're pretty crazy stuff.
I wanted to show the Russ Heath cover for DS that I consider his.
Oh, that's cool.
It's my favorite one. Uncanny Tales. It's my
awesome.
Favorite Russ Heath cover, and I don't know.
Beautiful red right there.
Yeah,
that's cool.
There's
crazy.
Thor 153 that Kirby does, which is almost exactly like the same. It's totally stolen from this. I could just tell that it had to be because it's just so perfect cover swipe coloring. It's one of my favorite colors. And I know you like red covers.
Wait, you're talking about a pulp that was swiped from that? Or with a girl walking on the cover and the guy's reaching up and grabbing her out of the blood.
Exactly.
I know exactly. I almost bought one of those a couple weeks ago, but I didn't want to waste the money on a pulp when I'm trying to go after a comic. But I know exactly what you're talking about.
I've seen this cover swiped so many times. It's so great. This is the original Russ Heath badass horror cover.
That's a nice. I'd love to have the original art in that one.
Yeah, seriously.
Oh yeah.
All right, I'll show one more Schomburg and I'll call it a day. This is Thrilling 53, so it's another, animal attack, good girl art, hybrid cover there and the Thrilling title. So
I do like those.
Yep.
The Schomburg apes are the most vicious of all the animals he ever draws.
I know, seriously.
So vicious and so angry that
the teeth are like bigger than lion's teeth,
I know the gorillas he draws are insanely vicious looking, and more so than the cats or the sharks or the birds or anything.
Or the elephants. So there you go.
There's a mechanized elephant one on one of these covers you need to get, JD. It's like a robot elephant.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Is that JoJo 7A?
It's a JoJo. I don't know which one it is, but
yeah,
it's a
JoJo 7A, because JoJo 7B is a little different. But they were 2 7s that year, not an A or a B cover. It was no variant issue. It was just 2 different. They named them both 7, but it's a girl. She's strapped to the side of an elephant like this, with a complete like the elephant's covered in armor almost.
Yeah, exactly.
It's really cool. Yeah, that's on my list. I got a couple of guys on the lookout. That's probably of my books I'm really hoping to get by the end of this year. That's always been on that list of my elephant covers. I've finished 5 of my 6 Silver Age Grails, or 4 of my 6 Silver Age. I finished 5 of my 6 elephants, and it all had to do with C2E2 finding the Voodoo 11. Because that was like I wasn't gonna find.
That's my favorite elephant cover of all time, obviously because it's a PCH.
Right.
But
well, there's 2 LB Cole covers too. Terrors in the Jungle.
Yeah, actually, those are. He's got a few of those. Yeah.
Yeah, Terrors in the Jungle. I think 9 and 11.
Yeah, I don't have any of those.
I
You know, there's some good novelty stuff too. Back in the 40s, I think Treasure Chest also has a bunch of good elephant covers.
Yeah, there's some weird ones out there.
Yeah.
That's why there's something. I originally came up with 117, and I found 7 more over the past month. So it's gonna be not a lot of fun. Well, it's got to be. That'll be cool. Here's one. This one, Terrors of the Jungle.
Sweet.
Oh yeah, okay.
That's a sweet one there, blonde. I separate the blonde from the brunette. Not sure why. Because the brunette's in my other box to get pressed. Maybe that's good. So.
Well, I think I've located a Real Life Comics 11, and that's the shark cover where the guys are in the rowboat in the high seas and the heavy waves, and there's like 3 or 4 sharks around the boat, and they're all stabbing at the sharks. Real Life Comics 11 is a Schomburg.
Right.
And I think I've located a copy of that. I'm just waiting to hear the price.
Yeah.
That sounds right up your alley. Yeah.
Did Comic Books NYC? Didn't you get a LB Cole Shark?
No, that wasn't me.
That's Comics NYC guy got one then.
It's probably Comics.
Yeah. Comics NYC sent me a message and he says, I got one of your shark covers because he's watching. I'm not the shark guy. It's DS Comics. So,
that's awesome.
Anyway,
I think we just lost Knights of Old to Battery Lane.
Yeah, here's my favorite shark cover, and that's an LB Cole.
Yeah.
I just really, the shark is so larger than life, but then the girl, she's still dressed for the ball. I don't know if she's going to make it into a high class ball with that on. It's probably more corner type, but she's still got the heels on and that big knife, and she's just going right at the shark.
Come at me. Come at me.
And you know, this is hard to find. This one's got a pretty bad stain up here.
On Guns? Yeah, Guns is the better. The other one that I see a lot of is 3 sharks surrounding the victim. I think you probably have it.
This one, Criminals on the Run.
Not that one. Hang on, let me see. Let me just go check right now because he sent me a message on it.
Yeah, this is LB Cole Shark too. This is Criminals on the Run. This one I like. It's got the shark's got a beady red eyes. You can see the eyes on the shark are red.
Sweet.
Oh. Let's see if I can find that thing here.
I only have
Batman.
shark covers. I don't have a Golden Age.
It's Comics NYC. I apologize, Comic Books NYC.
No worries. No worries.
It's flat out him. I said, I hope you show this on the show tonight. He's like,
Happens to the best of us.
he likes it. And he likes it.
Well, LB Cole's only got 4 shark covers. I got 2 of them, and the other 2 are the expensive ones. So
Catman, he has a Catman 32.
Yeah, he just showed it today, right?
Yeah.
That's the one I still need.
You put down Great Cole shark cover, and then Rick put down, I need to get another one. So
yeah, I think I saw that post and liked it, and I saw DS comment on it. I'm like, wonder if he knows that.
I think I commented.
If you read my comment on that post, flat out says, "Hope you show that on the show tonight."
Oh, I didn't see that. No, but that's
fine. Yeah, the other shark cover is Blue Bolt 114, but that's more of a underwater zombie cover. So the price on that is for the underwater zombie. So I still want it. I don't care how much it is for a shark cover, but it's like a bonus because not only a great pre-code book, it's not only a Blue Bolt book, which I collect the Blue Bolt run, but it's also a shark. So it's got the trifecta of so that's pretty high on my list for a PCH book for the rest of the year.
Yeah, that's definitely top 10 book right there.
Yeah.
I mean, absolutely. All right, well, I guess we'll wrap it up. We're a little bit over, but that's okay. I don't really care. We have
for sure.
I want to thank you
over here.
Comic Books NYC. Thank you very much for joining us. Really cool.
A lot of fun. Thanks for having me.
Once again, everybody, thank you for being a friend. Talk to you guys later.
All right. See